share the screen, and I'm going to share a few things, a few documents with you guys. I'll be uploading these, but yeah. So on the syllabus there, we're talking about the distinction of positioning, branding, and value proposition. So so if you see this folder here, buyer persona, in the process of segmenting your business, segmenting, choosing a target, positioning your product, like, so positioning, are we going to be expensive or cheap? Are we going to be fancy or simple? You know, that's all the dialogue about positioning. Brand then comes along and sets up the entire look for the organization and for that individual brand. So branding ends up being everything you convey visually to make sure people understand you. So if I say Target, the store Target, what comes to mind visually?
The red target.
The red circle, right?
Circle, correct.
Circles, the Target. If I say T-Mobile, what color do you think?
Pink.
Pink. And it's a very distinctive pink, right? It's not just any pink.
Correct.
So that has all to do with branding, because branding creates that look that people will identify with, and they will identify positioning with it. So they'll identify the quality, they'll identify, you know, what all are we doing that people can recognize us for. Okay. So in the process of creating your target market, deciding how to position the product, and then creating that value proposition, in order to do that well, we go through a process of, you could say, brainstorming, and we create a customer persona or a customer avatar. So if I have, let's say that I'm wanting to increase the marketing for the School of Business, one of my customer avatars or customer personas would be my online students. So then I would answer all sorts of questions here about the typical online student. Why do they take online? What are they looking for? How did they choose us? Et cetera, et cetera. So this is a beginning point of brainstorming everything that is unique about that target. And we create a persona. Here's the next one. So we've asked all those questions, right? Now we create more of a targeted view of who that customer is. So we have the demographics. What are their goals and values? Where do they look for information? Because that's where we can advertise. Okay. More information about them, demographics. Then what are their challenges they face? What are the pain points they face? What objections could they have to the sale? What role do they take in the purchase process? So this, we've taken the big picture, we've narrowed it down. And I guess, let's see, I have to go look for the other one. Here it is. So finally, okay, we would take this information And we would create, like, this is all the information you need to be able to create advertising for these people for a long time. So the buyer persona, who are your buyers? What are their archetypes? So what are they like? Let's see. What are their areas focus? What are their areas of focus and responsibility? Then what are their goals? We saw that. Initiatives that they're involved in. What is the timing for that purchase? Where are they looking? So what are the channels? What is their buying process? Their buyer thinking? Why do they buy? Who influences them? And then content. What information do they need? What are they looking for? And once you've gone through these steps and you come up with this for each target, then you can use these as guides in creating all of your advertising, all of your letters, your communication, whatever you use to communicate with your customer. Let's say if I'm talking to an MBA student online, I would use this one. If I'm talking to an undergraduate student, I would pull out a different buyer persona, okay? If I'm talking to an MBA student on campus, I would pull out a different one, because each one of you guys, each group, right, each target market is going to have a different set of needs, of expectations, of what they do. So all of that's going to be individualized. But it doesn't have to be individualized to one person. It's individualized to groupings of people. That makes sense. So if we go back to these three topics, okay, branding ends up being the entire look that is identifiable, okay? And it is also how we perceive them. Value proposition is what we say that connects with them. Positioning is our planning of what type of product and what type of organization are we going to be. So it has to do with positioning in the mind of customers, but it's like, are we elite or are we average? Are we fancy? Are we simple? Are we, you know, so you're looking at all of those elements and deciding what is it that we're offering, the product that we're offering. Okay. And then once we know what that product is and what the target is, we take those two, we make sure the brand comes through, because the brand is going to be matched to the position as well. And then the value proposition is managing what we say and how we portray it, and how do we match our words and our advertising and everything we do to that individual target. So the concepts are very, very closely tied together. But yet distinctive. Does that help any? Or have I muddled it more?
No.
So we talked about the positioning map. This is one example: high quality versus low quality, low price versus high price. Where do we fit in comparison to all of our competitors? That's the positioning. Okay. And once we decide, let's say that our product is the lint, highest price, highest quality. okay? Whatever it is that we're selling. If we decide we're this, then our brand needs to match and look expensive. Our products need to match and look expensive. Our website needs to look like it is very high quality. You can't go to a website and it's full of glitches and it has problems if you say you're the best of the best. So that's where you get into positioning. Branding starts with a logo. And people identify you based on that logo. Let's see. But it goes beyond the logo. The logo is like the anchor of what is perceived. And then value proposition is how you combine all of those to convey a message that people will want to buy your product at that price. And at that point, when you're conveying the value proposition, I would suggest you are no longer comparing yourself to the competitors. So you don't want to be in a position where you're telling the competitors, Lint is better than Ferrero, because what have you done? You've planted in their minds Ferrero. So when they go to the store, they could go, do I buy Lint or do I buy Ferrero? So positioning, because you're comparing and you're establishing what is most important, you do compare to others, but that's not a conversation you have with your target. It's simply to say, now maybe you want to be the M&M. Okay, how does M&M make all their money? I mean, obviously people buy M&Ms, right? And people buy a lot more M&Ms than they buy Lint. So M&M does not mind being the low price, low quality, because people are going to buy that frequently as just something to munch on. Whereas Lint, you're going to plan and you're going to buy it for a more special occasion. So you're going to spend more, but buy fewer. Okay. And yet, M&M and Lint don't ever want to be in the same phrase together, because they're such different products, even though both of them are chocolate. They're such different products that we don't want to confuse the customer by making Lint cheaper or make M&Ms think that, you know, be more expensive. So, yeah, I hope that helps a little bit.
Yes, it does.
Process. Okay. As of this afternoon, I had everything that's turned in graded. So if you have any questions, let me know. And I had graded the few assignment 6s that had come in before noon. So hopefully you guys are working on your papers and moving forward on those. I'm going to say next week, and I'm actually going to write it in here just to remind myself. I'm going to help you guys with APA formatting and research, online research. So there are some resources online that the library put up, and I need to find them, and I'll send you guys the links. but I'll spend a little bit of time on it next week as well. So that you have a little bit more info to go on, and you feel comfortable moving forward with your documents. And then, yeah, because we're moving forward on the research, even though I'm not talking about it much. The week of November 27, I want to make individual appointments to talk to people individually about their papers. I'm going to want to see a draft, whether it's a research paper or marketing plan. But if you need to talk to me about it before, just let me know, okay? But that week, I will be wanting to hear from every single person. And if you have no questions and you just want to email it to me, that's fine. But I want to give you pointed feedback because you'll have 2 weeks after that to finish up. Okay, and that's Thanksgiving week, I believe, or not. Is that the week of Thanksgiving?
It's the 23rd.
Sure.
23rd is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So it's the week after Thanksgiving. Okay. So, yeah, I want to make sure that I give you guys, I mean, you're writing, hopefully you're working on it, but next week I'll spend, like the first half, I will spend only on APA formatting and research techniques. And then after that, I'll answer any questions and we can address anything else that comes up. So, let's see. Okay, I believe that's all that I have right now. Any questions?
I just had a quick question about assignment number 6.
Yeah.
Do we have to use a specific example, or are we just doing it kind of generically based on the question?
Let me look at it quickly here. Generically, the students that answered it before you, one student who submitted already, one student said, put it into a context of a company they work for.
Okay.
And then the other student just made it generic of they would want to know who the target market was, and how the money would be used so that they could really target it. So I think it's easiest if you put it into a context.
Okay.
And I'll take whatever context you choose.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Okay, that's what I have. And I look forward to reading your papers, your assignments. I'm going to stop sharing this. And if that's it, we'll say good night.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
Feel better soon.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Have a good evening.